Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai's Linux News. We're kicking things off with some exciting news about application packaging. According to Fornix, Germany's sovereign tech agency is making a major investment in Flatpak. We're talking over €500,000 over the next 2 years. This funding will go toward enhancing apps' sandboxing capabilities and improving other core functionality. This is a huge show of support for the universal Linux packaging format, and it signals how important containerized applications have become for the open-source community. Next up, Canonical has just released Ubuntu 26.04.1 LTS, and according to both Fornix and AMDGPU, this is the first point release in their long-term support series for the Resolute Raccoon. Now, this isn't bringing flashy new features. Instead, it's exactly what you want from a point release. A refreshed installation image packed with all the bug fixes, security patches, and package updates that have come out since the original Ubuntu 26.04 launch back in April. Ubuntu notes there are 5-point releases planned for this LTS over the next 3 years, so you can expect regular maintenance drops like this one. Speaking of Flatpak, here's something really interesting happening over at Google. As reported by Ubuntu, Chromium's build system can now generate Flatpak packages directly. If you've been running Chrome as a Flatpak before, you were using community-maintained, unofficial builds. But that could be changing. A recent commit from Google developer Tom Anderson added the necessary packaging scripts and build framework to make this possible. Now, the developers are being cautious. They're saying this capability doesn't guarantee official Flatpak support is coming. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, and it shows Google is taking containerized packaging seriously for Linux users. Now, let's talk about something that's going to make a real difference for your system. Linux 7.3 is shaping up to be one of the most performance-focused kernel releases we've seen in years. According to Fornix, there are some really solid improvements hitting the merge window. For starters, the MGLRU memory management changes help executable code stay in memory longer, which directly improves performance. We're also seeing optimizations to block device I/O with new RWFuncake support for HPC and AI workloads, file system improvements across BTRFS, Extension 4, F2FS, and XFS, and even network improvements with NFS getting better on both client and server sides. Fornix ran comprehensive benchmarks showing these gains are real and measurable. If you're running performance-critical workloads, this kernel is going to be worth upgrading to. AMD has some great news for Linux gamers and content creators. According to Fornix, AMD is preparing to enable HDMI 2.1 FRL, that's fixed-rate link, support by default in their open-source AMDGPU driver. Now, HDMI 2.1 support has been in the kernel since Linux 7.2, but it's been disabled by default until now. For those who don't know, HDMI 2.1 unlocks much higher bandwidth, which means better support for ultra-high-resolution displays and higher refresh rates. Fornix notes that this capability was actually blocked by the HDMI forum for years, but it finally got unblocked, and now AMD is moving to make it the standard. This is a win for Linux users who want to take full advantage of modern display technology. Great news for Mac enthusiasts wanting to run Linux on Apple Silicon. According to Fornix, the Asahi Linux team just put out a status update showing they're preparing for an upcoming release with full Apple M3 device support. Beyond that, they've also been making progress on M4 and M5 chips. The Asahi project has been working tirelessly to bring proper Linux support to Apple Silicon hardware, and these milestones show they're getting closer to making that a reality for more users. If you've got an M3 Mac sitting around and you've been wanting to dual boot Linux, you should keep an eye on Asahi's announcements. Here's something absolutely wild that just happened. According to ITS FOSS, there's a new project called Multi-Kernel that just had its first public release, and it lets you run multiple Linux kernels on the same machine at the exact same time. But here's the kicker. They're not running in virtual machines. They're booting directly on the hardware itself. This is a fascinating development for testing, development, and research purposes. Imagine being able to test kernel changes or compatibility across different kernel versions without needing separate hardware or heavy virtualization overhead. It's still early days, but this is the kind of innovation that shows how creative the open-source community can get. Finally, let's wrap up with some news from the LibreOffice camp. According to ITS FOSS, The Document Foundation released LibreOffice 26.8, and they're making a statement. There will be no AI features in their Office suite. This comes right after Collabora actually integrated AI capabilities, so it's interesting timing. The LibreOffice team is sticking to their core mission of being a solid, open-source Office suite focused on document editing fundamentals. AMDGPU Ubuntu notes that version 26.8 brings other improvements like a new paragraph composer for better text justification handling and improved paragraph layout options. So while some projects are racing to add AI, LibreOffice is staying true to its roots and focusing on what it does best: reliable, feature-rich Office productivity tools.